As we've already talked about, tomorrow marks the one-year anniversary since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and returned that battle to build a culture of life to the people and their elected representatives. So many people prayed for that day, and I know that you're celebrating its anniversary just as much as I am. But the question is, what's next for the pro-life movement? Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is U.S. Representative Tim Walberg. He serves on the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, as well as the Committee on Education and Workforce. He represents the 5th Congressional District of Michigan. Congressman Walberg, always great to see you. Welcome back to Washington Watch.
Well, it's good to be with you. It's always great to see you, and I must admit we miss you here.
Well, thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate that. But listen, we're grateful for the incredible work that you and so many others are continuing to do. And I just want to get your comments here. You've been a great leader for life for a long, long time. As you well know, tomorrow is the one-year anniversary since Roe v. Wade was overturned. If you can, let's just begin our discussion with your general thoughts on this occasion.
Well, Jody, that was the reason, and I think I told you at some point in time that was what led me out of the pastorate, kind of like a Jonah initially, but found a new mission field, and it was on the issue of life. In the state of Michigan, we were funding abortions through our Medicaid dollars, and I took out a Republican incumbent who supported the funding of abortions with Medicaid dollars, to take his seat, and ultimately had the privilege of giving the speech on the floor of the Michigan House when we ended Medicaid funding abortion. Michigan was one of the first pro-life states, 1931, to end abortion in Michigan. So sad. We can rejoice about Roe v. Wade finally being overturned. But subsequent to that, Michigan, in the last election, overturned life, and now has laws in the state of Michigan that really are equal to California. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we still rejoice in the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned. A year ago yesterday, Jane's Revenge vandalized my campaign office as well as the Right to Life office above us in an attempt to try to quell pro-life attitude. Well, we're going to fight back. It's been interesting. The Justice Department, Merrick Garland, has never looked into the vandalism of pro-life offices, of pro-life legislators' offices all around the country, including my own. But that shows that we need to push back and gain the hearts and minds of people again.
Yeah, and that's such a problem. I'm so glad you brought that up, Tim, because actually I had forgotten that. But yeah, it's been a year since that vandalism, and we've seen similar incidents like that all across the country with very little guilt coming out of it or prosecutions of any type. And again, that illustrates the two-tiered system of justice that we're watching. But let's continue on this discussion of life, because you bring up an extremely important point that we're watching a shift. And this decision from the Supreme Court does not just send this back to the states. It is still a federal issue that needs to be addressed on the national level as well as the state level, and people need to understand the importance of this. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and other Democrats made that very clear at their press conference even today, that the Democrats want to pass a pro-abortion law at the federal level. So it's important that all of us understand the battle continues on all fronts, state as well as federal. So how can Republicans continue there in D.C. and nationally, statewide, to work on and build a culture of life?
Well, Joe, that's a great question. And I think the Democrats, of course, want to get abortion back front and center because they believe that's the means by which they win elections. We saw college students turned out at University of Michigan, Michigan State, other large campuses in Michigan by the hundreds and thousands beyond what they normally would in the last election, all on that one issue, abortion. So that would cause a lot of our pro-life people, especially legislators, to fear that and try to downplay it. I think we have to be honest. And we have to tell the people, listen, that's what the Democrats are doing. They want to put fear in that we are going to do something that isn't saving life, but it is. And I think that's the reason why we have to talk to our young people with compassion, Follow the science, of course, because they've been told to follow the science on COVID, on climate change, and everything else. Follow the science, and you will see that we can restore your choice, your opportunity, your freedom, but within the confines of things that work, that put you in a place of success in your life, nothing to impinge upon you or hold you back as a result of bad decisions. That voices out there like Randy Weingarten and others are trying to put forward that if you just do anything you want to do, you're going to be okay. Well, we found that doesn't work. So we in the pro-life movement need to smile more. We need to show compassion, but we need to speak to the truth as well and show how it can develop people's lives for success and long-term satisfaction, as opposed to just simply allowing the other side to say, we're going to take away something from you. No, they're taking away life from you.
And there's nothing more precious than that. You know, Tony and myself and several others were in a conversation today, and he actually brought up this tragedy with the submarine. We lost 5 individuals on that submarine, and there was some indication perhaps they were tapping that was being heard and all that. But Tony brought up the great point that here we have babies by the hundreds of thousands tapping on the wombs of their mothers for life. And whereas we give so much attention, as well we should have, to defend and protect and rescue those in the submarine, the same passion needs to be for defending the life of innocent children like this. And I, again, want to thank you for your commitment to that, Congressman Walberg. If I can real quickly switch topics, though, you brought up an interesting situation with your own office a year ago. And now we're hearing new allegations from IRS whistleblowers that the Justice Department, as well as the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office, literally interfered with the IRS investigation into Hunter Biden. Play clip 2, please.
Not one, but 2 IRS employees are blowing the whistle with evidence that the federal government is not treating taxpayers equally when enforcing tax laws.
In your opinion, is this more evidence of a 2-tiered system of justice that we're watching unfold before our eyes?
Absolutely. It's coming clear now. And of course, when we were in the majority or the minority in the House as Republicans, they did not fear investigations because it just wouldn't happen. And the media didn't have to cover anything. Now they still don't want to. But when you have a number of committees, 3 specifically now, that are looking at the issue of the unequal justice, it's not simply Hunter Biden, and it's not even simply the president and his involvement, as we're seeing more and more. It's the issue that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, and the Justice Department, including people like FBI Director Wray, put their thumbs on the scale in the last number of years to make sure that their side won and that it looked bad for the other side. That's not going to take place now because, frankly, the national media can only hold off reporting so long on some of this stuff. And then when you have whistleblowers with corrupt material, including videos, including emails, including phone conversations that are coming out and attaching various parts of this scheme together, I think the American people are going to see that something is rotten in Denmark, as they say, and sadly, it's in Washington, D.C.
Well, I certainly hope you're right with that. Even this week, the Biden administration broke law regarding the information on the origins of COVID. And the disregard for law has just, it's frightening when you see it at the very top levels like this. Congressman Tim Walberg, always great to see you. Great congressman, former pastor. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us on Washington Watch.
You as well. Thank you.